What's up everyone and welcome back to the MMA Buzz. Big developments have shaken up the UFC lightweight division. Ali Abdelaziz, the manager of Islam Makhachev, and Justin Gaethje recently appeared on Submission Radio and delivered one of the most revealing interviews in weeks. For a long time, all signs pointed to Gaethje being next in line to face Ilia Topuria for the lightweight title. However, recent discussions within the UFC have shifted toward Paddy Pimblett, and it's clear that Ali has had enough of the situation. Ali stated firmly that if the UFC decides to bypass Gaethje for the title shot, Justin will retire from the sport entirely. Justin Gaethje never breaks his word. If he gets jumped by Paddy, he'll retire and never fight again in the UFC, said Ali. He emphasized that Gaethje has earned his place through years of dedication, and it would be completely unfair if the promotion prioritized Pimblett, who has yet to face elite contenders. Ali criticized Paddy Pimblett's recent performances, pointing out that his last three opponents have a combined record of 0-3. How can someone like that be ahead in the rankings and get a title shot before Justin? He questioned. Abdelaziz made it clear that the only fighter who deserves a chance over Gaethje would be Arman Tsarukyan, due to his strong performances and consistent improvement. If Arman gets the title shot, I won't complain, he said. But anyone else getting it over Justin would be unfair. Ali also discussed Arman Tsarukyan's upcoming fight against Dan Hooker, expressing full confidence in Arman's dominance. I think Arman is going to beat the life out of Dan Hooker, he stated bluntly. Abdelaziz believes that Tsarukyan's skill set is on a completely different level, and that this fight will only prove his worth as a future title contender. He didn't stop there. Ali also revealed that Magomed Ankalaev entered his UFC 320 rematch with Alex Pereira after not sparring for 40 days due to a rib injury, an unexpected revelation that raised eyebrows across the MMA community. While some fans were skeptical, given Pereira's own past injuries, Ali's statement added more intrigue to the ongoing discussions around fighter health and performance heading into major bouts. Let's dive into another news. Paddy Pimblett has officially ignited the flames of war with Ilia Topuria, sending a fiery warning that he's ready to smash his face in. In a recent outburst, Pimblett declared that he can beat Topuria anywhere, whether it's standing on the ground or in the clinch, and that the hype surrounding El Matador is massively overblown. According to Pimblett, everyone has been putting Ilia on a pedestal, but he's ready to knock him straight off it. People act like he's unbeatable. I'm going to show them he's not, Paddy stated confidently. Even former featherweight champion Max Holloway stepped into the conversation, advising fans not to underestimate Pimblett. Holloway reminded everyone that experience counts for a lot in MMA and that no fighter is untouchable. You can't count anyone out, he said. This sport eats expectations for breakfast. Meanwhile, the debate surrounding the next title shot in the lightweight division has stirred up even more controversy. MMA legend Demetrius Johnson publicly blasted the UFC for overlooking Arman Tsarukyan, calling the decision reality TV level nonsense. Johnson argued that Tsarukyan has clearly earned the #1 contender spot and deserves to fight for the title before anyone else. Tsarukyan is set to face Dan Hooker later this month at UFC Qatar, a matchup that could have major implications for the division. Many believe a dominant win for Arman could force the UFC to reconsider its title plans, especially if fan pressure continues to mount. As for Ilia Topuria, he's currently focused on helping his brother Alexander Topuria prepare for his upcoming fight against Belzad Al-Makan, also at UFC Qatar. Despite speculation that Ilia might make a return to the octagon as early as January, insiders say that's unlikely. The Topuria brothers rarely train for their own camps simultaneously, preferring to support each other fully during fight preparations. Adding more intrigue, Charles Oliveira, Topuria's most recent opponent, recently admitted that standing in boxing range with Ilia was a mistake. He's sharp, accurate, and powerful. I should have adjusted my distance, Oliveira said, acknowledging the technical threat Topuria brings inside the cage. With tensions heating up, the potential showdown between Paddy Pimblett and Ilia Topuria is quickly becoming one of the most anticipated rivalries in the UFC. Let's dive into another news. Josh Thompson recently broke down the upcoming Wuxi eye poke rule changing following the chaos of UFC 321, offering one of the clearest explanations yet of how the new system will work. According to Thompson, athletic commissions and the UFC are finally taking unified steps to make the sport fairer and safer for everyone involved. While the changes may initially feel strict, he says the system will stabilize once fighters adapt. Here's the breakdown. As soon as a referee notices a fighter keeping their hand open toward an opponent's face, an official warning will be issued. If that same fighter commits an eye poke after the warning, it results in an automatic 1-point deduction, no exceptions. A second eye poke means another point deduction, regardless of intent. This marks a major shift from the previous approach, where referees often gave multiple warnings or judged whether a foul was intentional. Thompson emphasized that the commissions understand the transition may be difficult for fighters. Keeping hands completely closed can temporarily affect striking, parrying, and distance control. However, he believes fighters will quickly adjust once they realize the penalties are now immediate and unavoidable. The UFC and commissions want to see real change, Thompson explained. This isn't about punishing fighters, it's about protecting them and making sure the rules actually mean something. Interestingly, Thompson revealed that 95 to 98% of IPOKSI come from just a small fraction of fighters, roughly 1 to 2% of the roster. In other words, a few repeat offenders are responsible for nearly every incident. While many fans have called for a redesign of the gloves to prevent accidental pokes, Thompson confirmed that Gino glove redesign is currently under consideration. Instead, officials are focusing on consistent rule enforcement. The new approach will give referees clearer authority. Once a fighter receives a hard warning for open hands, any subsequent poke automatically triggers a deduction. There's no debate about intent, Thompson said. A foul is a foul. The days of saying it wasn't intentional are over. Once the warning is issued, you're accountable for your actions. Let's dive into another news. Huge news has just been revealed regarding Khamzat Chimaev's next fight, and fans are buzzing with anticipation. During recent coverage of the GACA event in the USA, Chimaev was seen cageside, supporting his close teammates. Cameras caught Chimaev looking visibly frustrated when the judges' scorecards were read, clearly unhappy with the outcome. Following the event, several reporters from Prochazka tried to secure a quick interview with Khamzat, but he refused to speak, continuing his ongoing boycott of the outlet, a tension that has been brewing for months and was previously highlighted in one of our earlier reports. Instead, the media managed to get a brief word with Jalanbek Baduva, one of Chimaev's closest friends and longtime training partners, who ended up revealing key details about what's next for boards. Before sharing what Allenbeck said, here's some important context. The holy month of Ramadan begins in late February and runs through March 2026. According to Allenbeck, Khamzat had originally hoped to fight GGB for Ramadan, eager to avoid another long layoff following his Chagas showdown with Dricus du Plessis. That fight, which ended in a frustrating setback for Chimaev, had left him determined to return to the octagon quickly and make a statement. However, Allenbeck confirmed that Chimaev's plans have shifted due to lingering medical issues and scheduling conflicts within the UFC's middleweight division. He was aiming for a fight in early February, Allenbeck explained, but it looks like it's going to happen right after Ramadan, sometime around May or June. While no official opponent has been confirmed, sources close to Chimaev's camp say the UFC is exploring two potential matchups, one against a top 5 middleweight contender and another possibility at welterweight, depending on how the rankings shake out early next year. The revelation has reignited speculation among fans about possible opponents, with names like Jared Cannonier, Archstein Strickland, and Bilal Mohammadi all being floated around the MMA community. What's clear is that Chimaev's return will be one of the biggest storylines of 2026. Let's dive into another news. Massive controversy has erupted in the MMA world as John White and the UFC have officially released featherweight fighter Isaac Dulgarian, following an alleged gambling scandal linked to his fight at UFC Vegas 110. What was meant to be a spotlight event for Steve Garcia and David Amai quickly turned into one of the most talked about nights in recent UFC history, and not for the right reasons. Just hours before Dulgarian's matchup with Guyadir Delva, reports surfaced of unusually large bets being placed on Delva to win. Initially, Dulgarian was the heavy favorite at GG 204, but as the fight approached, betting lines shifted dramatically to 116, signaling suspicious activity. Moments later, Delva won via first-round rear naked choking, and the online MMA community exploded with accusations of fight fixing. Analyst Ime Fuffy Sizin posted that the FBI had flagged the unusual betting action, with several large bets reportedly placed through Hard Rock Sportsbook, triggering an alert. Odds for Delva's first-round win shifted from AG 865 to AA 475 in a matter of hours. Adding fuel to the fire, Sizin revealed that Delva once trained under James Krause, the same coach who was banned from the sport following a previous gambling scandal. Commentator Harry Mackey added that the FDAP notified the UFC of the irregular betting patterns hours before the fight, allegedly giving the promotion time to pull the bout. But the UFC went ahead anyway. Mack argued that this decision could make the organization complicit if wrongdoing is proven. However, Chael Sonnen pushed back on social media, saying there's still no concrete evidence, and reminded everyone that the UFC is legally obligated to fulfill its contracts with fighters unless evidence of a fix is verified. Meanwhile, fighters and analysts have expressed serious concern over the situation. Khamzat Chimaev tweeted that gambling scandals could destroy the sport's credibility, saying, "If bettors lose trust in MMA or if betting gets banned, we lose most of our paying audience." Analyst Michael Chiason also criticized Dulgarian's performance, calling it amateurish and embarrassing, suggesting something felt off about how he fought. Let's dive into another news. Jiri Prochazka may soon be making a bold move to the UFC middleweight division. While the former light heavyweight champion remains focused on reclaiming his old belt, he recently hinted that dropping down to 185 pounds could be part of his future plan. Ever since his thrilling comeback win over Khalil Rountree Jr. at UFC 320, Prochazka has been campaigning hard for another title shot at 205. However, his recent comments suggest that a change in division isn't off the table. During a recent appearance at the Octagon 79 event in his home country, the Czech Republic, Jiri spoke with Patrick McCory about his next steps. When asked whether he's seriously considering a move to middleweight, Prochazka confidently replied that cutting to 205 has never been an issue for him, and that dropping to 185 is something he believes his body can handle. "To cut to 205 is not a problem," he said. "But to 185 middleweight would be something really interesting. I know my body well, and I believe I can make it happen. But first, I want to bring the light heavyweight title back to the Czech Republic." This isn't the first time Prochazka has floated the idea of moving down in weight. Even before defeating Rountree Jr., he mentioned that middleweight could be a natural fit given how his metabolism and conditioning have evolved. "Rather than moving up to heavyweight, I've thought about trying middleweight," he explained. "The way I feel during training, if I adjust my diet properly and stay clean with my nutrition, I think I could perform well at 185. My body feels ready for it." Currently, Prochazka is tied with Magomed Ankalaev for the #1 spot in the light heavyweight rankings, positioning both men as top contenders in the division. However, uncertainty remains about what comes next. Could the UFC book him in a third fight with current champion Alex Pereira? Prochazka has already faced Pereira twice, and while both bouts ended in Pereira's favor, fans and analysts alike wonder whether a trilogy fight would make sense at this point, or if Pereira himself is even planning to stay at 205. Meanwhile, another name has emerged as a potential contender, Carlos Ulberg. Riding an impressive 9-fight winning streak and coming off a dominant knockout over Dominic Reyes, Ulberg has quickly become one of the most talked about prospects in the division.